former Penn State Nittany Lion quarterback. Good to see you, man. Welcome back to the show.
Appreciate you having me, Hut.
Yeah, man. So, dude, what happened over the last 3 games with Penn State? We're in overtime against Oregon watching this game. And from that moment where Allar throws the pick to now, man, this came quick. And I can't figure out and wrap my head around how fast this happened and how the perception is that the team just kind of went limp on Franklin. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not from inside the building, but that's definitely what the product looked like.
Yeah.
And I thought Josh Pate did a good job of describing that Oregon game being the turning point for the season. One way or another, you're going to find out what this team was made of. And unfortunately, it went the other way from the positive side of that. So You're kind of living in the real world of media and pressure. And Coach Franklin had a lot of pressure coming into this season, and the way that they framed it as the best team, the best coaching staff, most alignment that he's ever had there. And then the product really didn't match up. And it's got to be one of the biggest letdowns / collapses of college football in a long time.
You know what? I said earlier this week, it's like, chances are like anyone's favorite team doesn't measure up to Penn State's success. And James Franklin's success. Like, chances are he's better than your head coach. Frame this for me. What you faced the pressure of being QB1 at Penn State. What is it like being, the guy in the football program that's expected to get things going? And then once you kind of reach the level, you're supposed to take it to the next level. And we've seen what happened with Franklin. It's not like he's a terrible coach. It's not like he did a bad job, but he also didn't get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I think where Coach Franklin struggled the most, he was consistent, and I'll give him that. And there's a lot of positives to his tenure at Penn State in terms of development around the program, building facilities, lobbying for money as an injection into the program.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at that's a CEO type of role to me. And that's what he's really, really good at. When you look at his hires, then with the exception of probably Joe Moorhead, from a coordinator standpoint and the actual X's and O's on the field and the execution of the talent accumulation that he was able to get via recruiting and the transfer portal of recent years, it just hasn't matched up, man. And when you don't have that aspect of it, at the end of the day, you can have all the toys and trinkets and fireworks around a program, but it comes down to production on the field, and it comes down to success, and that's ultimately what you're going to be judged by.
So do you think that they maximized the talent that he had brought in, or did they level off to a point where they'd never reached their true ceiling?
Listen, I think there's a couple elements to that, and it's part of a much longer conversation.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the players that he has, they end up being great pros. He recruits a lot of attributes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of the old school football guy in me. Like, I didn't see a ton of football players, like violent football players, pretty much after the Big Ten championship team. You know what I mean? There were some guys, right? There's exceptions.
Yeah.
There's outliers, but I didn't see a lot of football players. I saw a lot of guys that could run really fast, jump really high, move a bunch of weight.
Measurables.
Do all those things. So I think that's definitely part of it. And then again, when you I looked at this team as a perfect example, like with at least what it's built. And again, I'm not in the building every day. I don't watch practice. I'm not in the meeting rooms. But when you look on paper, like this was a physical football team up front on the offensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. You had 2 great running backs coming back. You filled the gaps at the receiver position that you were looking to fill. You had depth in the tight end room. Granted, they're not all Tyler Warren, but that could have been production by committee. Mm-hmm. And you had a senior quarterback coming back, right? I made the comparison that this offense should have looked a lot like Andrew Luck when he was at Stanford, where you have a downhill physical running game. Drew's working off play action probably 40 to 50% of the time. That's where you create your explosive plays, right? But from the first game, it just seemed like this offense was calling plays to call plays. There was no rhythm. There was no anything. And I think that's part of the issue, right? Is like there's no real identity for the program in terms of the football players you're bringing in and what you want to be on that side of the ball. I thought the defense has had that for quite some time. It just didn't quite work out with Knowles. I think we're a little thin at linebacker, which hurts, and then Tony Rojas coming out. I also think we could have done a better job recruiting on the interior of the defensive line. I think we have really good players, but I don't think we have the 6'5", 325 guy, 325, 340 pound guy that's just going to hold double teams and allow your athletes to go make plays. But I think it's just been that, man. You get a lot of talent, but there's no real identity or action that they've been able to do up until this point, and that's ultimately, I think, what gets them in these quote unquote big games.
So I mean, we could see Billy Napier added to the list of fired coaches midseason after this weekend, according to reports. Maybe Hugh Freeze as well. Those programs compared to Penn State, I think the narrative will be, Florida wants to jump in because Franklin's available, and they want to go ahead and get in the mix and see what's going on there with Penn State also open. Compare the jobs, and do you even compare them with what type of coach the two programs, maybe three, throw in whoever you want, the type of coach that the program actually needs right now?
Yeah, I think, no, you can't compare them. And the Penn State job just doesn't come open often. You know what I mean? I mean, you had Joe right there forever. Bill came for 2 years. Franklin was there for 12. The Florida job's been open a bunch, at least in my lifetime. You know what I mean? So I think that there's something to that. And I think the one thing that goes into this coaching carousel and the hiring process, and why Pat made the decision when he did, was he said it in his press conference, the next coach will have to fit Penn State. And that's really hard to put into words. But if you're not in the ecosystem, in the culture, you're not going to really get it. But it's not like an SEC culture. It's got plenty of resources. It's got all these things, but there's just something different about Penn State. And there always has been. And I think that goes back to how Joe built the foundation of the program and the identity of the program. And subsequently that has matriculated into the fan base, the donors, the alumni. And that's something that I think Penn State takes a lot of pride in. And that's going to be the kicker in this process. And that's why I don't really compare Penn State to really any other job. There's maybe a handful of them. Maybe you could say Notre Dame from a tradition and culture standpoint.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's tough, man. It's not really an SEC culture, but you have all the resources that you need to go and win.
So does it make too much sense? You're describing Matt Rhule to me. I mean, that's his school.
Yeah.
Does it make too much sense to just go and hire Nebraska's coach?
Listen, I think what's hard about it is, again, Pat said they're going to have to fit Penn State. That's the wild card to me. But I also think that when you look at the decision from the athletic department, from his seat, he's betting this is a legacy hire for Pat. He hasn't made a hire like this anywhere else he's been, and he's betting a lot on that. So peel back all the emotional side of this and all the names and all the fluff you want to put in the media. He's going to hire somebody he trusts. Point blank period with his career. Then you're going to need to bring in somebody who's going to have assets with them, because you can expect probably in today's day and age, 20 to 30% of the roster hits the portal in this winter window. And your recruiting class is already kind of falling apart. So you're going to need somebody who can come in and resuscitate that quickly. But you have to have a coach who has an asset. So I think that's hard to go out and hire a coordinator, right, without trying to give them a 2 or 3 year window to really build what they want to build. And I don't think the fan base has the appetite for that. And then the third thing being that they have to fit Penn State. And I think that's a really, really, really small list. Matt's definitely in the equation. I think you could argue a few other people, but at the end of the day, no one's got a crystal ball. But those are the three things that I think are going to go into the decision.
Do you have a couple of other names? I honestly, I wouldn't know who you're describing there. In 30 seconds, just give me a few that you think would fit.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think again, your A is Rhule, Cignetti.
Cignetti's not leaving though, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing though, is can you throw a bag at it with you're spending money already on
Right.
and that's, you know, you don't know really how much money coach is going to get paid out. There's a lot of things that go into that, but you're throwing money at it already. So maybe it's appetizing. I really like Drinkwitz at
I do
Eli
too.
or
Yeah.
at Missouri.
Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
awesome. But you got to find someone like that. I think Fran Brown at Syracuse is another guy who's an interesting one. He gets the Northeast from Camden, New Jersey. Um, but it's going to take something like that. And I think he's got
That's a good one.
an A list, and then everybody else is going to have to be kind of a swing and hope it really works. And there's going to be a lot of homework that goes into it.
For the record, I think North Carolina should go hire James Franklin after they bounce from Belichick. Hey, final thing for you. Why did it not work for Drew Allar? I did feel like Penn State did what it could. They changed coordinators. They go out. You know, they pay for the top guys. They hit the portal at wide receiver. Why didn't we see Allar take this to the next level?
Yeah, I think that's tough, man. You know, I really like the kid. I think he's a good kid. I don't know how much kill he has in him, if that makes sense, in terms of a leader of men, but he has all the attributes and kind of what we talked about earlier. I think the dysfunction in terms of identity from an offensive standpoint never really meshed up with his skill set, and it wasn't an easy marriage for him. And with a guy with his skill set, that's hard. If you got a guy who can run around and make plays and is electric, kind of like, you know, your Johnny Manziels of the world and stuff like that, they can make a lot of stuff right. But Drew's skill set isn't really that. And I just don't think the system ever really matched his skill set. And, you know, the intangible side of it was tough. And I don't want to challenge him again. Like he's a great kid as a quarterback that's been there at a tough time. Like love the way he represented the program.
And
love
you've been there, and you know the pressure involved with that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's tough, man, especially in tough situations. And I ran into a freaking dumpster fire in a blender, so you know that's on me. But I think it takes a special kid to be able to get out the other side of that with any type of positive. And Drew does have some positives. You know, he's gonna have a shot. He's got to get healthy. But you know, I just think there was a lot of factors that played into that weren't necessarily him. There were some things that were him this year, but I think there was a lot of things that didn't make the situation completely conducive. And I've said it before, the quarterback position is the most dependent position in football. Too many factors that go into an individual player's success. And I stand on that, and I think this is a perfect example of that.
Hey, final minute here. Is Indiana winning the conference?
Dude, they got a shot, man. Like I said, I mean, Siggs, when you talk about a guy who has the charisma and the attitude, and he must be getting a lot of support from Indiana in today's day and age, it's a great thing, man. And they're a good football team. I'm excited to see them. I'll be up at that game. I'm excited to see them.
All right, cool. I mean, dude, I wish more coaches were like him.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, he said it best, man. It's the entertainment business. You know what I mean?
It's a promo. He's cutting a promo.
Too. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. Kids fall in line with that. So, but he backs it up too.
That's it, man. He's not afraid of the pressure in the moment, right? Like he wants to create it. He wants to be he wants to play, come in and kick down the door. And I love that, man, especially at the programs where he's been.
No doubt.
Hey, man, hope all's well. By the way, I don't know, it looks like you're either you're a therapist or maybe an accountant based on your background. Is this your office?
Yeah, this is the office. You know, sometimes I like.
I like the leather chair. You got cigars back there. What do you got?
Yeah. I need to get a ventilation system in here before my wife kills me. But
all right, man. We'll chat soon. Good to see you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. There is.
See you guys.
Christian Hackenberg, great dude right there, man. Great perspective too, and insight on the Nittany Lions there and Franklin